y'all being here, kind of displaced. Hopefully they'll be back in our regular home very soon. Police Chief Bill Carter's going to lead some pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, invocation tonight is going to be by Elder Mike Harrison of Wendell Christian Church. Good evening. Thank you for being here.
Greetings from Wendell Christian Church and all the sister churches that make up the Wendell Council of Churches. Before I pronounce the invocation, let's take a brief moment of silence in remembrance of the situation that took place in Orlando. Let's pray. Gracious God, as we come to you with heads bowed and eyes closed, we want to thank you for the many blessings and gifts we have individually received. Blessings that might be overlooked in the chaotic and strained world that we read about and hear about in social media daily. We can count it a blessing that such situations are not happening in our town. While solutions seem complex and suggested as unattainable, the truth is, decisions led to us to where we are, and decisions can turn us around, even work miracles. We pray for our elected officials at all levels to be more decisive in deliberations and actions taken, less self-serving, more motivated to act and respond to the best interest of the majority, a majority that has entrusted them to act on their behalf in all decisions, but especially in difficult decisions, not looking for the most popular answer, but the correct answer that would truly benefit the whole, just as was the goal, your goal for the world. As we move forward from this moment, may we be more focused on us and less on me, led and directed by your spirit of love and grace for us all. For it's in the precious name of your Son, Jesus the Christ, that we offer this prayer. Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Is there any adjustment to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's see, we have one person signed up for public comment tonight. Brian Staples?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, board members. My name is Brian Staples. I'm the fire chief, Wendell Fire Department, and I come to bring some good news for the citizens of Wendell as well as the surrounding areas. In April of this year, the North Carolina Office of the State Fire Marshal conducted our ISO, our Insurance Services Organization inspection, which determines the protection class for the properties, not only in the town but in the rural area outside. Currently, the town and anybody that's located within 1,000 feet of a hydrant is a protection class 4. And then in our rural district, anybody more than 1,000 feet from a hydrant is a class 9. Our new rates are back, and effective September 1st of this year, the rate in the town has been lowered from a 4 to a 2. Will be a protection class 2. And for our non-hydrated district, we've lowered it from a 9 to a 3. So hopefully September 1st, people will start seeing some savings in their insurance premiums.
Thank you, that's wonderful news. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 3, action on the proposed fiscal year 2016-2017 budget for the town of Wendell. Ms. Hyman.
Madam Mayor, members of the board, proposed 16-17 budget for the town of Wendell has been prepared in accordance with local government budget and fiscal control act. It has been presented to the board in April. We did have a work session held in May, and at the 23rd meeting in May, we did have a public hearing. It has been done as mandated by state law. The budget is shown as being balanced. It identifies methods of raising and spending funds for specific programs throughout the fiscal year. The budget development process focuses on high-quality services and meeting the goals of the town, the community in a physically responsible manner. There are tough decisions to be made, priorities to be set, and staff went about that based upon what we felt like we received out of the 2016 retreat. Improvement projects currently are underway. As you know, there are a lot of activities going on right now. Paving work started today. We also have work going on in Town Hall. And these are something, as we've talked about, that are very much needed. And we are glad they're taking place. We have to take care of what we have before we can move forward. But they do cost, and those costs and those expenses and payback will come in the upcoming fiscal year. In addition, there isn't one equipment loan that is received prior that we will double up on for this next year. It's about $65,000. And that will be for this one additional year that we'll be actually doubled up. We did go through a reevaluation process since 2008. As stated in the past, our numbers or our values aren't quite where they were in 08. They're getting close. We're excited about that. We have a lot of new homes under construction, and we feel like we're moving in a positive direction. We're just not quite there yet. So we'll continue to work toward that. We have, again, a lot of exciting things that are underway and in process, and so we think that we're going to be able to see a difference next year. In addition, with that one equipment loan coming off, again, as stated, we've got over 5 miles of work that's being constructed. Also excited about the Lakewood Drive project. We received $330,000 from Wake County for that. We ended up, as unfortunately, when economic times do improve, so do bid prices, and it came in higher than we had wanted. In addition, on June the 6th, Wake County has approved another $80-some thousand toward that project for us. So we're excited about the participation of Wake County in that. So that's going to be over $400,000 alone just in Lakewood Drive. So we have tried to maximize what we have, where we can, to look at leveraging those funds. Again, we've taken a look at what we have. No changes have been made since the public hearing. You have that information before you. Butch and I are both here to try to answer any questions that you may have before you make a vote. I just do want to say that Commissioner Boyette was unable to be here this evening. He did ask some time back whether or not he could vote while not actually being present, and we did look into that, and he wasn't able to do so. But he did want to be here and be involved if at all possible. But the way the statute's written, he has to actually be physically present to vote on the budget. So we'll be glad to take any questions that you have and try to move forward.
Any questions from the board? Commissioner Joyner?
Madam Mayor, for a motion, and to allow any conversation that wants to go on, but just to make the rest of the board aware, my motion is going to be that we suspend the vote or table the vote on the budget this evening out of a courtesy, one, to Commissioner Boyette, and two, to allow the conversation to continue. I also believe that that date would be the 27th if we did our next scheduled meeting. Not to give a hint to the other towns, but would give us a good opportunity to make sure we were as competitive, if not more, with them, because the rest of them likely will have theirs through. But motion to table.
Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay. Go ahead and proceed with our discussion. Does anyone have any questions from this time on Mr. Pat?
Teresa, I have a question. I know the gap was about $90,000, and you mentioned with the development at Wendell Falls, I know they're exceeding their expectations as far as home sales goes, so they're way ahead of where they thought they were. Does the town, maybe Butch can help out, maybe Patrick, have y'all projected where we need to be rooftop wise, commercial building wise, where we can close that gap maybe without raising the taxes?
Or the exit going from the 49 cent to the 51.
Right.
That two cent would equal about $90,000. And what we would hope is that in the meantime, that maybe sales tax, that sort of thing would be what would make the difference in the next fiscal year. However, construction, it is pretty much property taxes is what was constructed by the end of December 2015.
Right.
So, although we have, construction going on now, and one of the things I keep talking about in the planning department, I said we want to see foundations and dirt turning between now and December of this year. And that'll really make a difference. And it's also, kind of at what stage as well. Things are assessed at where they are and if they're further along and almost completed versus just a simple foundation. It does make a difference. Another thing that we've talked about is House Bill 168 and how many, and if things slow down and houses do not sell, builders can defer those taxes. And so that can have an impact, and that's one of the things that Wake County did mention about possible having an impact, and very difficult for us to understand property tax revenue. As far as the economy being strong, I think sales tax, there's gonna be some of the areas that we really see a difference. I don't know, Butch, do you have anything on taxes where we might see that change over the next year, and the fiscal year that we're fixing to go into? Yeah, unfortunately, with construction, it's really what happens the year before. And so that's the reason we're really pushing now, hoping that for next year we're gonna see that difference. We're also seeing, again, as a positive, that we're seeing with a lot of the articles that we're seeing in our surrounding areas where that revenue or those home values have gotten back up to where they were in '08. And even in some places, of course, we are not the western part of Wake County, but they are to where they were or are exceeding those prices in some places. And that's to our advantage because it's going to come this way. It's going to push those prices up, which is going to send more people our way and supply and demand. So we're close. We're just not quite there.
Teresa, I have a question. With the discussion of creating the 2 new positions in the town hall here, tell me again, and I know you explained it before, but tell me again why each one, kind of how they'd be different too as well.
Okay. Yes. With the retirement of our clerk, I have to say that I would love to be selfish and to fill that position.
Mm-hmm.
However, we have so many needs with all departments that I understand that that's just not possible. And so we looked at splitting those out into what I would call basic or entry-level positions, 2 positions. Mm-hmm. One would be to help, again, instead of not filling the clerk position, but for Sherry and I to carry that clerk, deputy clerk role.
Okay.
But to have us, someone assisting us with a lot of that work that needs to go downtown Raleigh, or that information and making those copies and that kind of thing, to be able to, for us to continue to flow smoothly there. There's a lot of, what I would say as far as being efficient. I think that the town of Wendell pays me too much money for me to be making copies. That's a lot. You need to be paying me a lot less if that's how we're gonna spend my time. And I don't think that, I always look at how can we be more efficient. So I want to see us be as efficient with those dollars as we can, and that's the reason I'm not looking at filling that clerk position. But I think we can get someone in there that's really ready to grow and to help us to do some of those types of things. The other position is there where the entranceway when you come into town hall, and that customer service representative. One of the things that sometimes we don't look at with that main line number. Right now, that main line number coming into town hall, it's for almost anything that happens throughout the town. Often, a lot of those calls are related to public works. And they have come in, and people don't realize that a lot of times, because it's when's my trash being picked up, leaves, limbs, that sort of thing. We have a process now with Waste Industries where we're filling out and doing work orders online. So what we're hoping to do is, again, every department needs assistance and needs help. Planning needs help, finance needs help, but if we have that person there taking those calls and answering, and helping with the work orders, that's gonna free up, finance. It's gonna hopefully free up some time for planning to work more on those permits. Also, some of those economic development tools, such as we've seen coming out of planning lately with the art walk, those kinds of things. And have someone that's gonna be able to do that, as well as better, communicate and, customer services, where we're really wanting to go, with that person in to be able to, direct those calls that come in about public works. So those are why those are so different and so diverse. But I think the way we're splitting them up, that they'll help more than a department, they will help all the departments and getting materials or information, work orders, customer service. And when it goes back to it, it's really what we're doing to help the citizens. And it's all designed and trying to split this up so we can better serve the citizens and be more responsive to the calls that come into town hall. I don't know if that answers that.
Yeah, I just was kind of curious to see how we were taking the two roles, and I know efficiency is always important when so much is going on, but how they were each going to serve in different capacities versus just two people doing kind of the same overlapping work. So, and I had one other question too as well. We discussed a while back about the track out camps and how Philip was kind of helping out with the track out camps. From my understanding, really on a full-time kind of basis in the summertime, or how much of his time is with the track out camps versus?
I would say probably about a third of the time. That's gonna be spent, I think in the beginning, the first year, it has been more, because there's been a lot more involved in planning. There's a few things that we're working on there, because trying to develop a program and work toward developing that program with those that are corporate sponsors has been something that's taken a while to work through. It's been a fairly smooth process, but you're building it from the ground up. So now we have a process in place, so I think it's gonna go smoother, so I think probably about a third. However, whenever school is out, the week's out, a lot of time, that's when the same times when you have more ball games, you have the grass mowing that's going on and preparing those fields and just grass in general throughout the park. But that's the reason I think that we can do with someone part-time there instead of looking at someone full-time.
Okay, so I was making sure that we didn't. I was getting the impression that maybe Philip being with the tracker camps was putting more work on the town, on the Parks and Recreation staff.
Well, if we don't have a part-time person on when we have the actual track out camp going on, it will. Other times it won't.
Okay.
I mean, he'll go back out.
Okay.
But during those periods of time, it does have an impact just when that track out camp is. Again, I think in the past, in developing it, he had to spend more time on planning. But now, hopefully that will be less and less as we got the program developed. Also, there's some things that we're working on right now for transportation that I think is gonna also help the track out camp. So we're looking where we can partner to try to make that smoother. But it has taken away this first year. We're hoping that that will become less and less.
So in future years, as he's gotten more of this foundation laid, it's a little more routine versus planning in their groundwork.
Planning.
Okay.
And I will be honest with you, one of the things, just based upon feedback that we've received, again, as we continue to grow, and he has expressed an interest in doing this as well, is not only track out camp, but he has a gift in working with special populations and our seniors as we are talking about developing programs and doing more. And that is one area that he has expressed interest, but of course, we can't do that until we have the funds to be able to do that. But that is an area that he has expressed interest in.
Okay. And then one more question, then I'll be quiet. With the amount of money that, with the property tax adjustment we're looking at, the amount of money that's going to kind of generate for the town, it was about $90,000
That's
or
correct.
somewhere in that ballpark. Am I safe to assume that if we half or 1 cent increase would be about half of that as well too?
About 45.
Okay, okay.
Any more questions from Ms. Pine, Mr. Petty?
If, this may be a Blitz question, and you can get back to, unless if you don't know it right now, what does it cost salary-wise one day? And so what's 1 day worth to us? If we're gonna be here tomorrow, how much are we paying out in salaries tomorrow? And I know that's, but encompassing all things, so. And I could take the salary line items and divide them by that, if that's the best we can do, that's fine. I didn't know if you had that. And then what is the value of 1% on raises?
Our bi-weekly payroll is about 100 to 125,000 per 2 weeks. So that can give you a ballpark of, if you divide that by 14 days, then you can say that's how much it is per day. And then a 1% raise would probably be about 30,000.
And going back to Commissioner Lutz's, or Mayor Pro Tem Lutz's question, covering, which, and I think we discussed, some of the things Phil does, but covering his position, if we were able to cover him with a part-time position, essentially the hours those track-out camps were in, does that make you whole?
It definitely helps. What we were trying to do as well as Public Works had asked for two full-time positions. And so we were looking at a part-time position so that they could help when they weren't here and there as well, and trying to make that up.
Any more questions from Ms. Pine, Mr. Petty? Item number 4 is appointments to the Town of Wendell Citizen Advisory Boards.
Madam Mayor, members of the board, we are looking at positions for several of our advisory boards this year. Board of Adjustment has one ETJ vacancy. Economic Development Committee, we have 5 terms that are expiring and 1 vacancy that was already in existence. Planning Board, 4 terms expiring and 1 vacancy. ETJ, and we have 2 in town. Tree Board, 2 vacancies as well. One of the things that you will see before you since the last meeting is that we have another application that came in after the deadline. At the last board meeting, we said we would still accept applications, and this one has come in. Also, even with this one, as we look at it, we're still going to have some vacancies. So in addition to actually looking and voting tonight on members for the boards, we would like to also ask the board to make a separate motion or to include it that we would actively seek additional applications in an effort to fill those boards. What you will have is that, you see 1 asterisk, it indicates that that's an in-town applicant, with 2 out-of-town. Red indicates that we have an applicant that is already a current member. A member may serve on 1 board at a time, and that is in our rules of procedure. At one time, we did have individuals that served on multiple boards. And our town board at the time decided that it was probably best to try to seek diversity and service, and so that is something that was put into the rules of procedure. This evening, we will first start with the planning board, and we have, the planning board consists of 9 members, 6 members who reside in town, and 3 members who reside in the ETJ. Sherry is going to pass out those ballots for you this evening. That is how the rules of procedures indicate that we will vote by ballot, that our board members will sign their name at the top. unless the board chooses to waive voting by ballot, then you may vote not to vote by ballot. We currently have Mr. Billy Bryant, who's in the ETJ, and he is term expiring. He has not resubmitted. We also have Earl Briggerman. He's here this evening. He is an in-town member. We have Ashley Anderson, who is an ETJ member, and she has resubmitted her application. Judy Silver, her term is expiring. She is in town and has not reapplied. And then we have the one vacant ETJ member. The applicants who have applied are Mr. Gene Brady. Again, Ashley Anderson and Mr. Earl Briggerman are both current members. Mr. Stacy Pisha, did I say that correctly? Stacy Pisha, Victoria Curtis, and the ETJ, and Mr. Louis Lancaster. And if you would decide whether or not you would like to vote by ballot or waive that, and we will take those up, and Ms. Sherry will, and Scotty's will tabulate those and let you know who we have on those boards.
Commissioner Meyer had a question about ballot.
So it said only 2 in-town members, so we're picking 2 out of that.
Yes, sir.
In-town members will serve a 3-year term, and out-of-town members will serve a 2-year term.
Madam Mayor, members of the board, it is 4-0 for Mr. Errol Brickerman, Lloyd Lancaster for your in-town membership, and it was 4-0 for Ashley Anderson and Victoria Curtis for your ETJ. For your ETJ members, I will be sending a letter to the Wake County Clerk to the board so she can present your recommendations to the Wake County Commissioners for action.
Thank you.
For the Economic Development Committee, we have a large number of members that are coming off at this time. It was a few years ago that we reactivated the Economic Development Committee, and so it's taken us a while to start staggering those. And so we consist of 8 voting members and 1 ex officio member. 5 of the 8 members have terms that are expiring, and there is 1 vacancy with the term expiring in 2017. Terms that are expiring are Mr. Donald Brown, Ms. Elisa McKenzie, Mr. Ed Morrell, Barry Ferry, and Mr. Paul White. For those that have submitted applications, we have Ms. Stacy Pisha, Paul White, who is currently serving. Mr. Ed Morrell has also submitted his application, Mr. Gene Brady, and Mr. Nicky Jones.
Madam Mayor, members of the board, you have unanimously selected the following members to serve on the Economic Development Committee: Stacy Pesci, Jean Brady, Nikki Jones, Paul White, and Ed Morrell.
Now, on my count, this means we still have one spot left on the Board of Adjustment. It's an ETJ spot, one Economic Development spot. And I don't know if that counts to ex officio or not. I wasn't able to tell from the way we received the information. One Planning Board spot in the ETJ and two Tree Board spots. So, can we seek out some people, advertise if we have some vacancies?
We will be glad to actually send back out requests and advertisements and to actively pursue additional members for those boards.
Item number 5, update on board committees by town board members. Triangle J Council Environment, Commissioner Reeves.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On May 25th, I attended the Triangle J Council of Governments meeting. We approved the budget for the 2016-17 year with very little discussion. And a presentation was heard on preventing elder abuse month. And that was it.
Thank you. And Wendell Volunteer Fire Department Board of Directors meeting, Commissioner Joyner.
Chief spoiled half the thunder this evening with talking about the ISO ratings. That's a huge deal. That's a long process, and it means a lot for our insurance rates, and also speaks to the level of fire department we have here in Wendell. We also looked at the budget that has come out from the Fire Commission, and we're working through that. The other piece I will say is to give Chief Staples some kudos. The fire department has for some time been without one position on a shift. It's actually Commissioner Boyd's shift where they were short a firefighter. I want to publicly thank Commissioner Matt Calabria of the Lake County Board of Commissioners who worked with his people at the county and Chief Staples last week, and they've come to an agreement. Chief Staples has secured funding for a what I'll call a stopgap until full funding can be achieved, but it will give us greater fire protection in Wendell and in the county around us.
Thank you. And Commissioners' reports, start with Commissioner Carroll.
I don't have anything tonight.
Commissioner Reeves.
Nothing else for me.
Commissioner Miller.
Well, just congratulations to the fire department on that certification, and also, we just need to continue to be in prayer for the town of Orlando, those victims, their families, the first responders, and our government, how they're going to respond to it.
I just continuing to encourage, and obviously everyone that's here doesn't need any encouragement for this, but to come and check with the town staff about what the proposed property tax rates would do to your property tax bill, and to keep that conversation going as we now have a little bit more time. The other piece was just to, again, thank Chief for his hard work on the ISO stuff, as well as securing that position. And the last thing was we attended Town Hall Day at the General Assembly last week, and for anyone that wants it, I have a gorgeous photo of Commissioner Carroll with the Speaker of the House, and Commissioner Carroll was able to sneak in a few window comments while I was talking to the Speaker.
It's all over the internet.
I heard the interwebs were exploding.
Yeah. All right, for me, I just have a couple real quick things. I want to thank the Parks and Rec Department for the big truck day that we had a couple of weeks ago. It was really nice. It was something that served a group that maybe is unique, little kids, little boys and girls don't love to go to trucks. And see things like that. I also want to thank Coyote here in Wendell. I accepted the donation of an all-terrain vehicle for our Public Works Department. And interestingly, it's pink. It was originally designed for recognition of Breast Cancer Month. And the guys in Public Works were real cute, very excited to have it. And they were thrilled to death. And several of them have come and told me a story they had and how proud they are that it is paying for breast cancer. I don't know if you know, both my sisters have had breast cancer and my father died from breast cancer, so it was very important to me as well. So if you see them riding around in a little pink truck, toot at them and wave, and thank you again to QAD for that. I attended Carver Elementary School's 5th grade celebration. I was real happy and proud to be asked to speak at that. It was a nice day, a nice occasion. It's always kind of bittersweet for all the mommies and daddies to see their little babies and getting ready to go to middle school. So I was happy to be asked to be there, and I want to thank them for the invitation and thank them for sharing their children with me that day. I really enjoyed it. I also attended Eastlake High School graduation this past Friday. It was interesting. I received, you know how you get graduation invitations. I got one from the senior class, which I thought was really nice that they sent to me. And that meant a lot to me. I saved it. And the principal, Mr. Alston, even contacted me and arranged for me to have a hood and gown that matched all of my educational things. And the reason I tell you all that is I'm happy to see the attention to little details taking place in our schools. That's very important. Small things like that really matter. And so I look forward to all the things that are happening in our schools, because that just indicated to me that there really is an extra effort being made in that way. They made me feel really special. I want to thank them for that. I'm really proud of all of our graduates. And I want to congratulate them and wish them the best and tell them to go out in the world and make Wendell proud. And we are watching. So don't make us have to come and remind you of who you are, where you came from. And on that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We're adjourned.
Hey, John.
Mr. Dog.